welcome back to the Click Chick podcast. Today I'm here with my friend Lindsey Lay, who is a boudoir photographer, traveler, educator, all the things.
Literally 100%
mostly
of the
just
things.
boudoir fanatic and insanely talented with it. So, hi Lindsey.
Thank you. Hello.
Happy to have you here. I met her a couple weeks ago, just kind of randomly.
On the internet. We love the
I can't
internet.
remember who messaged who first, but it was like Facebook. Message through some group, and you invited me to a workshop, and it was just like friendship from there. We have such a similar silly goose, ridiculous vibe.
Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love that.
Live, laugh, love that. I love that. Oh my God.
And so, yeah, I'm excited to have you on the podcast to talk about what is boudoir photography, because I've had that question asked more this year than ever. I'll be like, oh yeah, I did a boudoir session the other day. And people just look at me with a blank stare and they're like, what's boudoir? Mm-hmm. And then you try to tell them and they're like starting to think it's more along the lines of like OnlyFans or something like that. And I'm like, no, it's like tasteful. Not that OnlyFans can't be tasteful, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
it's a smitch different.
Yeah, exactly.
I think more intention is different than
the
anything.
Audience.
Yeah, the audience. Boudoir is, I don't know, friend. I think it's just kind of whatever it needs to be for whoever it is.
Oh, I love that.
So I tell my clients that you can literally wear a prom dress for all I care, as long as you're, over 21. That's super cash for me. You can wear as much or as little as you want. It's mostly just about making you feel like the most delicious human that's ever lived in this entire planet. No big deal. Just cash, super cash. I'd say most of my clients are like 35 plus. They're moms. They are business owners. They are career nurses and teachers. And I do work with quite a few creatives as well. But it doesn't just have to necessarily be bridal, which is what I think it has been like kind of associated with.
Yeah, because that's all I really do is bridal boudoir for my clients.
And I love that. It's not for me because brides are usually not for me because, girl, that's stressful. And I just, my tolerance for stress is just very, very low. Very, very low because I'm a stressy girly. Depressy girly sometimes. But yeah, it's honestly whatever you want it to be. If you want to have your OnlyFans content, I love that for you. I have plenty of clients that are actually on a subscription plan with me to where they have like monthly or quarterly sessions. So they have content that is kind of along the lines of whatever they're trying to show or not show, and whatever they're trying to promote or not promote with their account. And then also it's just making sure that it's high quality for them as well. But yeah. It's kind of all the things.
Where do you draw the line between...
Ooh, good question.
Boudoir and then more explicit X-rated content? Where's the line for you there?
Bestie, we love this question because I just had this whole conversation for like an hour and a half with my new insurance company because my last one decided, they didn't drop me, but they were like, hey, we're not doing business insurance anymore. I was like, oh man, how quirky, fun, cute. That's amazing. I just love that for us, you guys. My policy literally renews in 2 months, but okay. So I had to explain to the insurance agent what my previous insurance agent explained to me. So there are three distinctions, or I'd say there's like 3 tiers, 3 levels. So boudoir, erotica, porn. So the dividing line between each of them is the sexual acts themselves and penetration, which I'll explain. So boudoir is anything that is lightly implied is totally okay. So if I have a couple session, it can be lightly implied sex acts, but there's no quote unquote sex of any kind. So there's no oral, there's no penetration of any kind, of course. And then for erotica, it's more of implied acts. So both can have nudity. Actually, all 3 of them can have nudity. So boudoir, erotica, and porn. Okay. Full nudity is totally fine as long as there are no sex acts or implied sex acts for boudoir. Erotica, you can have implied sex acts, but no penetration. And then porn is where the line of penetration is. Okay. So, fingers, oral, or, genitalia.
So like no touching.
They can touch as long as nothing penetrates. Okay. As long as no holes. As long as
such a fine line.
It really is. Oh my God, it really is. So as long as you can see it in like PG-13, you're chilling with boudoir.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Plus nudity, of course. So maybe R.
It's
and
like
then,
the scenes in movies where it's like you can see his butt and that's it. And you're like, well, we know what they're doing.
Exactly. And then porn is pretty much anything penetration plus.
Okay.
As well as the lower 2 tiers.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
when you say you have girls who you help create content for, it's still in that like
It is.
boudoir
Yeah,
realm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can film anything else on their own time. And with other photographers. So the only reason I draw that line is because of my business licensing for Kentucky and North Carolina and Tennessee. It is specifically for boudoir. There is different licensing and different insurance that you need to buy for other, you know, erotica and porn.
That's so interesting.
I don't think anybody, I know that people know that, but do they follow that? Probably not.
There's no way, because I feel like people just kind of jump into it and don't do all of the paperwork and stuff first. It's
That's
like,
so true.
I'm gonna be spicy on the podcast today with like male boudoir photographers, because there
Oh,
have been like some scandals here in Charlotte and everywhere. There was one in Boone like 2 years ago. Some guy just got absolutely like dissed on the internet, rightfully so. Because it's just these guys who jump into photography and they're like, let me take pictures of you. Oh, well, do you want to do a couple topless? Well, since you're already topless, how about fully nude? And all of a sudden you're shooting like, essentially porn. But
Girly pops. Oof. That's a lot.
yeah, so spicy.
Ooh, I love it.
But anyway,
I love
jumping
it.
ship.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I love that for us. That's amazing.
Yeah, so actually, you guys, today is a 2-part episode. So this episode, we're going to jump into just like talking about boudoir photography and all things business, how to run it, everything. And second episode is going to be everyone's favorite, a little gossip episode. So we have some really good boudoir stories, and one of them is about a male photographer. So
I love this.
We'll get into that next week in that episode.
I'm stoked.
But
I'm stoked.
for today, I would love to talk about how you started your business, how you got into it, what you were doing initially with photography and like transitioned over. Tell me the tea.
Ooh, okay. So we'll just say that I'll preface this by telling you that I was absolutely, unequivocally a personality hire for 2 years. Swear to God. And I'm okay with that because I love my personality. I think I'm a bad bitch and I think that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, you have amazing personality.
Thank you so much. You do too.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
good. This is fine. It's whatever. We vibe. It's cash. So the first couple years, I knew very little about what I was doing business-wise. Also, rewind. It was 2014, babe.
Oh,
It
wow.
was 2014. Not a soul knew what they were doing for anything.
Yeah.
We were out here charging $500 for a whole ass wedding. Like, we were in the trenches. We were in the trenches because Thumbtack had just started, and the Knot and Wedding Wire and all of that. And not to say that they're shitty or anything.
Yeah.
But at that time, 10 years ago, they attracted a different clientele because they had these tiers. So I don't know if they still do, but for Thumbtack specifically, which is, honey, I used that platform and I got so much business from it, but they were $400 to $600 weddings.
Yeah.
So they had tiers of like $400 to $600, $800 to $1,000, $1,200 plus. Being like $1,200 was just this crazy, immaculate,
we are luxury.
Honey, you got to be luxury up in this bitch, like truly. So that was kind of a weird time to start a business. I do say that everything kind of happened in a slower setting with that, just because nobody was making a profit, because nobody was working for. I mean, honestly, we were working for pennies without knowing it.
Well, yeah, when you break it down hourly, I did that one time when I was starting out, and I was like, I'm literally making under minimum wage by the time I'm like done.
Truly, because we thought that you had to take a client out to coffee to be able to sell them on your package and to have them sign a contract in real life. Because who told me I needed to print 27 pieces of paper? I don't know, but I went with it.
Yep.
I said, my God, this is perfect. How
I had
beautiful.
a nice cover on mine too and everything. It was bougie.
Exactly. And then you had another meeting with them prior to the wedding just to make sure that they were so comfy. Girl, you better be comfy. You're paying $400. You're fine. You're comfy. So anyway, I did about 100 weddings at that.
Holy crap.
But I was a baby child. I was 18, 19, 20 and like buying my first house and trying to live, laugh, love on less than minimum wage. And it was just a wild time. So I was doing weddings. I was working with babies. I was actually kind of known for newborns and families as well as boudoir here.
Oh, wow.
It's wild. It's
Very
wild. So that
stark
rebrand,
difference.
that rebrand, she went whoop, and I was like, "Oh, sorry guys, I actually don't work with families. It's only ass and titties now.
Yeah.
Sorry."
Full out.
Exactly. Literally, I'll help you make that baby by making you feel spicy, and then full circle, you go somewhere else for your family stuff. So But yeah, I was teaching newborn workshops. I was doing boudoir, but I actually had my first boudoir session with this girl. Her name's Sam. She's precious. I love her. We actually reconnected recently, and she's starting a photography business, and she's just so creative and beautiful.
That's amazing.
But she was my muse, honey. She was my muse for everything. We were both 18. We had known each other since elementary school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So super comfy.
Super comfy. And I would use her for all the creative shots and like going out in the parks and being edgy and cool and wearing like fishnets and like jean shorts, denim shorts. Cause it was 2014. It was a wild time. It's fine.
That was the vibe.
It was the vibe. It was 100% the vibe. So, she went along with all my wild little ideas, and I appreciate her so much for this because she really got me started in this boudoir field because she was my first boudoir session. And I will tell you that the setup itself was a little janky. She was special. It was a special setup. She brought her own outfit. She was precious. But imagine like those really janky light stands from Amazon that are like $4.99 at this point.
Not even like the $20
No, honey, please. I was 18. I was a baby. Didn't know anything. And then the backdrops, we'll like air quotes them. Air quotes. Backdrops. They were tablecloths that I bought from the Goodwill outlet. The Goodwill bins.
Did they
where you
smell?
pay by the pound. No, well, they might have, but I washed them.
Okay. I'm not
You're
a classy woman.
I'm classy. I was a classy little gal. Probably a little classier now, but who am I? Yeah, so that was interesting. The posing was enlightened. It was beautiful. It was iconic, honestly. Yeah. And I look back at some of these pictures and how I had her pointing her feet, my feet cramp when I look at it. And I'm like, oh God, what
like
was
ballet dancer? What are we
kind
talking
of,
here?
yeah, they were real crunchy. They were real crunchy pointed. And I'm like, girl, what were you doing? I am unwell. It's okay. We look back and we chuckle now. We chuckle because so here's the thing. The photographers that started in the last 5 years, you look at their, quote unquote, initial work and you're like, girl, that took me 3 years to get there. That took me 3 years.
Because there's so many resources
exactly.
now. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, please. I was editing on free software that I found on the internet. Probably gave me 72 viruses.
No, same.
Oh my God. And with the contrast and the saturation and thinking that I was doing something. Honey, I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing it.
We didn't have anything to compare ourselves to. So we're just like, I'm a photographer.
Like,
I'm making $50 for an engagement
literally,
session. Yum.
Literally beautiful. Like, eat that up.
This is so much money.
Literally. We were babies. We didn't know.
We were.
So, yeah. That was kind of how I got started. And we're at a different place now. Thank God.
Yeah.
Prayers and such. Glad we did that. But yeah, that's kind of how I started.
So what's the business looking like now? How many years later? Almost 10?
10. Yeah, March was 10 years.
March was 10. Yeah. Crazy.
I know, it's wild. Thank you so much. Oh gosh, it was wild. No, it's been honestly very interesting and very, I wouldn't say humbling, but a little humbling, maybe a little humbling. In the last 2 years, I've kind of reframed my entire business to where before I had a studio in Kentucky. Hold on, let me back up. I built 5 years in Charlotte before I left. I moved to Kentucky, but I would go back and forth to still see clients because I'm like, well, I didn't spend half a decade building this business in one state just to, move over to the other one and not have any clients.
Yeah.
So initially my plan was just kind of like live, laugh, love in Kentucky and not work because I didn't feel like building a brand new business over there. Right. So I was like, it was hard enough in Charlotte the last 5 years, girl. Like we were mainstreaming it. We were trying to make boudoir mainstream.
Yeah.
And then it took me about 4 months before I decided that enough is enough. I'm bored.
Yeah. I know. So, entrepreneurs cannot sit still. Let's be real.
Absolutely not. So got a studio in Kentucky and did that for about 5 years. And then I decided, hey, girl. Well, no, I think it was about 3 years. Sorry. And then I was like, hey, girl, I need a lifestyle change. Let's start traveling full time. So I hopped on a plane, not to LAX, but to Scotland, and stayed there for a month. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't actually look to see if I needed a visa, which, looking back at it now, oopsies. I didn't.
Lucky you.
I didn't. I showed back up in the U.S. and they were like, hey, girl. Fun fact, they actually didn't stamp my passport when I got to the UK, so there's no record of me being there.
Was that weird with you coming back? They're like...
No, they didn't care, but I cared because I was like, girl, this is my first international trip and you did not stamp me.
You didn't get your souvenir stamp.
I am upset. I am upset, honey. Anyway, so, yeah, then after that, I decided, hey, actually, I'd love to live abroad most of the year, if not all of the year. And I kind of had to transition my Kentucky clients to how I did for North Carolina, which is, hey, I'm here for a short amount of time. Work with me if you want to. If not, I'll be back in 4, 6, 12 months, whatever.
Yeah.
And the first few months of traveling, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to have any business when I come back. I still have a studio. I still have all my shit in the studio.
Yeah, all the bills of the studio.
Exactly. And then I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Then I came back and like I had a full roster of clients. I had my normal stuff because I was back for about 6 weeks and I split that between North Carolina and Kentucky clients. And it worked out. I was like, oh my God, how is this working out? And then I realized that I've literally been doing this for, 8 years at this point.
Yeah.
It worked out because I have set it up to work out.
Right.
Because I have gotten my clients to know, like, and trust me. And then it's not a magic thing. It's not magic. And I was like, oh, it's so magical. Girl, it was magical in my head, but like in reality, I did this.
Yeah, you worked your butt off to get here.
Okay,
yeah.
I might have done this. But now it's kind of still like that. I've actually been back in the States since the end of January, which is my longest stint in quite a while. We were originally looking at houses in Tennessee, but the housing market is like, hey, girl, you want to pay $170K for a meth house?
Yeah.
That's literally a trailer from
in
the 1970s.
middle of nowhere, not even a nice meth house.
Exactly. Girl, they didn't have wood floors. They had half a ceiling, half a roof, but no wood floors. And I was like, I could have looked past the one for the other.
We just want real hardwoods at the end of the day.
Truly. But, it's fine. Whatever. It was not in the cards for this moment. But yeah, now we're going back to Thailand for 6+ months and then maybe coming back in the spring. But all my clients kind of know that, hey, I fuck off for 6 months and then show back up for a couple weeks. And if you want to do a session, then we could totally do it. If not, I'll see you in 6 to 12 more months.
Well, and that's probably good marketing for you too, because it makes you more exclusive. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, she's here. Like I have to get it in the 2 weeks she's in town or whatever.
It was a big brain shift for me though, personally, because I was so available. I worked 7 days a week if I wanted to work 7 days a week. There was probably a 2-year period where I had 2 clients a day, at least 5 days a week.
Yeah.
For like a solid 2 years. And during COVID, at the start of that, that's actually when I got to slow down a little bit because I wasn't allowed to work. Yeah. I'm not an essential worker. I know. It's wild. It's wild that butt cheek pictures are not essential, but I think they are. Yeah. Irrelevant though. It's fine. I'll take it up with the governor. It's whatever. But I actually started offering these pay what you can sessions, and there was like a minimum payment, and I would donate 100% of any profit, so minus the like $6 credit card fees,
right?
To servers and baristas and bartenders and all of that. So I would do that as like large cash tips, and I would still pay taxes on it, but the cash tips, hopefully, fingers crossed that they didn't need to or they didn't have to, especially in that time, because it was wild.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
Thanks. It was just something that I was able to do because I sold my house in Charlotte, like literally January.
Oh, that's
right before. Yeah, truly. Same year of COVID. I was like, oh my God, this was so perfect. Like it worked out. And I was so grateful for that. But I didn't need to work necessarily, which again, very grateful for that. But other people did. And they weren't allowed to. So maybe I was breaking some rules. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe it's Maybelline. It doesn't matter.
It's none of your business now. It's in the past.
The back of my head is none of my business. This is none of my business. I don't care. So truly in the past now. But yeah, that's kind of how the last few years have gone. It's been a wild ride, but I'm super grateful for it. It's been really dope.
I love it.
Thanks.
How do you find most of your clients? You're good. Is it a lot of repeat clients?
Ooh, good
Instagram?
question.
How are people finding you?
A little bit of everything, to be honest with you. So I think you and I had talked about this before, but my SEO decided to pop off. Yay, love that. Whenever I left North Carolina. Yeah. It only took me 5 years to build that. No problem. But then they said, girl, Google is on your side right now. And that's when I left. So that has been a really good driving force for clients, is, hey, girl, I saw you when I did a Google search. Or, hey, I saw you on this blog post of top 8 boudoir photographers in North Carolina, or whatever it was. Okay. That's another like weird little thing that I Googled myself the other day. I think it was while we were together at a coffee shop. Or maybe it was the next day. I don't know. But I Googled myself and I was like, why am I on these blog posts? Where are you guys?
You didn't even know.
No, I didn't, because I don't live here anymore. So I don't see like the voting or the whatever process it is, you know? Wow. So I was like, okay, girl, I love that I'm number 2 or number 3. I don't go here. Like, I'll keep my spot. Don't get me wrong. Like, let me keep this. But it was just wild. And it felt like it was this cute little hurrah moment. I was like, precious, thank you.
You're like, am I famous?
Am I famous? And I had someone mentioned me on Reddit in a good way.
That's
like,
impressive. We love a Reddit here.
Yes, we love a Reddit. And I was like, wow, this is great. And then I figured out I have 3 Yelp accounts. I don't know how that happened.
Okay.
And 4 LinkedIn profiles. Don't ask.
Holy crap.
I have not a clue.
Over the last 10 years, you've just been wilding.
Yeah, I think I just keep saying log in from this Gmail, and I've got 12 of them. And then I've got like, I don't know. I think it keeps creating new accounts.
Can we just talk about how many email accounts we have?
I would like to, but I would also like not to.
I don't want to think about it, but it's a lot of emails.
It's a little bit a lot, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I have, girl, I've got so many I can't even log into either. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm like, forgot password on most of them.
Literally. And then it's like, do you want your frog lover 729 at AOL to come up? I was like, girl, I don't know what that is.
No,
what is that?
I don't
Who
recall.
is that?
Yeah.
She was 12 years old in the 7th grade, the one year I liked little frogs. And I was like, oh, how cute. What a fun little quirky personality trait. Yeah, it's fine.
Like entrepreneurs, we're always starting new things, and then also like in the wedding industry, like or photography industry, you're doing weddings, and then you're doing couples, you're doing boudoir. So it's like I need different emails for different things.
Exactly.
And now I have like all of this other stuff.
Do you know who cares though about that? Nobody.
Nobody.
It's just us.
It's the list when I go on my accounts.
Exactly.
That's what I care about. I'm just like, who do I think I am? Honestly.
The audacity I possess towards myself.
The audacity.
Literally. It's wild. We're wild out here. All these emails.
We're doing our best at the end of the day.
How are you doing? My best. My best. Entirely my best.
I want to talk about posing.
Oh, I love posing. Yeah.
How do you get comfortable with the model when you show up? Like, what makes them feel comfortable around you?
Okay, so I think it's very, very important to do 2 things. One of which being have a consult call beforehand. All of my pricing is 1,000% transparent. It is all on my website down to I have one upsell and it's a different editing style because a lot of my clients are older. They don't want it to be that kind of moody.
Oh, the dark and moody. Yeah.
Where it's not exactly like if you're wearing pink, it doesn't, look exactly the same color in real life as it does in the photo. So they just want my normal color in black and white. That is my only upsell.
That's nice.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But all of my stuff is online. But the reason I do a consult call is, honestly, it's between 4.5 and 5 minutes. And it's me yapping. I just yap. I get it all the info that they've already read through my website. I kind of condense it into 4.5, 5 minutes. Ask them if they have any questions. They're like, no, girl, that was the best. Like, I have no questions. I was like, girl, that's because I already wrote it out for you and then repeated it to you.
Exactly. Yes.
Just so you can hear my voice. So that's the biggest thing is I want people to instantly laugh at something I say because if not, it's kind of weird for you to like whip a titty out in front of me and like not be chuckling.
Yeah.
Honey, you should be chuckling. You should be chuckling. Because I think I'm hilarious, of course. But the other thing that I think is really, really important, this is having to do with the posing and being comfortable and confident with clients and then vice versa, is showing them every single photo I take before they change in the next outfit.
Okay.
I will do that 100% of the time. It is very, it's almost nerve-wracking as a photographer to show someone, hey, oh, I fucked up. That's the floor. LOL. That girl, don't be looking at that one. It's fine.
Right. It like shows you're human.
It does, but it also shows them a couple things. Like, hey, I'm sending you all of these because you laughed funny in that one and it makes me chuckle and I want you to see that. But it also gives them that initial like instant gratification. Like, oh my God, I look that good and it's unedited.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you do know what you're talking about. So within the first 5 minutes, I show them between every set. So before they change into their next outfit, it gives them this like, I can breathe. I don't have to worry about it. I know she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
If this first pose looked this good, then the rest of it's going to go really well. And so I do that between every single take though. Like between every single outfit. So,
I love that. So they just get like more and more confident as it goes on. It's like,
and they're like, oh shit, that's my favorite. Oh shit, that's my favorite. I'm like, girl, you got 72 favorites and I love that for you. But pick 12. Pick 12 of your favorites. I don't care. So typically as a rule of thumb for clients after their session, I'll tell them, hey, I'm going to send you everything. If there's one that makes you chuckle, I love that for you. That's amazing. Don't take yourself too seriously. My goal is that you love 75% of them.
Okay.
The other 25%
I love the expectation.
can fuck right off.
Okay.
Because we do not care.
Yeah.
Like we truly do not care. Those 25%, that's none of your business. That's none of my business. It's none of anybody's business.
Right.
So, and I've also found as like a little little note for photographers. If you deliver the photos that are less than ideal, the ones that are like midway between a pose, I'm not saying deliver a bunch of unflattering photos, but if they're a little silly, if they're a little like, you know, I was half picking my nose, I was scratching my head, whatever, it will show your clients that you have delivered everything. You know, even if you did have to delete some, even if some were just crazy out of focus, I deliver the slightly out of focus ones because there's going to be 100% perfect one right after it or right before it.
Yeah.
But the psychology of it, if you see 5 photos that are like, ooh, like jump scare, that's okay, because then in their head, they're like, oh, she delivered everything. She couldn't possibly have taken anything away from me. So
what's the like purpose of delivering all of the photos? Is that so that they feel like they have like more value from you? And
honestly, it's for me. It's easier for me because I'm not, who am I to say like, oh, I like this one better than the other one. Your butt cheeks
so
be
it's like
popping
she
in
might
this
like
one.
this angle better or
Exactly.
whatever. Okay. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I am, I'd say like I'm a medium overshooter. So I don't walk away from an hour-long session with 500 pictures. I walk away with 225.
Yeah, that's healthy.
You know,
yeah,
exactly. So by the time all is said and done, I deliver about 200 of them.
Okay.
You know, the 25 are truly me taking a picture of the floor on accident, or me testing light, or something that doesn't even have the client in it, or it's like a picture of the client's half of their face to make sure that the light is correct or something. So yeah, that's the purpose is for me because I don't want to do more work than it's worth and have someone come back to me a year later be like, do you remember that time that I turned 92 degrees to the left and my face kind of had that little shadow? No, bitch, I don't. It's you already have it, trust me.
But you loved it. So,
yep, exactly. I'm glad you remembered that. You already have it though, because I did not delete it. I promise.
Do you have a lot of people bring a friend with them?
So my policy on friends is very chill. If you're going to bring someone, you need to ask me beforehand. I'm going to say yes 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But it's for my safety and yours. Like I'm not randomly bringing someone to your session, so you can't do that to me.
Yeah.
Because it's safety on both ends. Like you're showing up to my safe space and I'm creating a safe space for you.
Yeah.
So
do you like to have a third person there just like as a witness or something so that no one can like accuse you of something weird?
Oh, okay. So for that end, I'm over here saying, no, God, don't show up with somebody. Honestly, I have never had an issue, you know, like knock on some wood somewhere. But all of my clients kind of know me well enough by the end of their consult call, by the end of like reading my emails and signing their contract and, you know, following me on social media and all of that and hearing references and seeing all my reviews and all of that jazz, that I feel like I'm kind of more in the vulnerable state with that. And I don't mean that as like oh, I'm such a victim, whatever.
Yeah.
I just mean like I don't know as much about you as you know about me coming into this because you chose me.
Yeah.
I'm allowing you.
Your website has a ton on it. Like you know what you're getting.
Exactly. And I put a lot of myself out on the internet and social media and all of that to where you do know enough about me to where you and I can have a conversation. You could say, hey, how was Thailand? Hey, how was Germany? Hey, how's your so-and-so? Like, I don't know that about you though, because a lot of my clients are older and they are not necessarily as on social media or as forthcoming on social media, which I don't mind, of course, but I don't see it as like I need someone there to protect both of us kind of thing, just because I am very confident in the safe space that I have created for all my clients.
Which is also probably more common with men photographers too, because you have that dynamic. So that's probably...
So on the other side of that, whenever I do have solo male clients that I have not worked with before, like if I haven't done a couple session with them and their partner, then I will present to them that there's a possibility that I might ask a male photographer friend of mine or my partner to attend the session and be there as an assistant, as someone to make sure that we're all safe, we're all live, laugh, loving.
Yeah.
Consensually, thank you. But I very rarely have had to do that. I think it's only been on 2 occasions. Yeah, I feel like people are pretty chill. And I've been,
Well, and when you put so much about yourself, especially like on your Instagram, she literally has a yapping section on her Instagram. A little Instagram highlight where you just talk to the camera. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like people definitely get a sense of your personality. So they're super comfy by the time that they show up and they're like, oh, hey, bestie, what's up?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And I talk to all my clients the exact same as I do, regardless of their age, regardless of their gender, regardless of anything. Like, I'm going to talk to my 57-year-old client the same way I talk to my 25-year-old clients.
I love that.
Hey, bestie, break your back. Let's pop your booty.
Like, we are arching today.
Literally. You will be broken tomorrow, but you're welcome. You're welcome. It's fine. Yeah. My clients are pretty cool though.
Have you had anybody reach out after the session and be like, I don't like any of the images, I'm insecure, like blah blah blah?
I've had people that their initial reaction after they see it is, oh my God, I hate my face. And that's like 100% of the criticism that I get. Nobody's ever said that like, hey, I don't like any of these, because I do preface it by saying, I want you to love 75%. Yeah. Because I feel like for me at least, if I don't say that to the clients, then they are going into it thinking, oh my God, I'm going to love 100% of them. And one is going to rock me to my core. One is going to, like, one bad photo is just going to mess me up for days. But if they go into it knowing that they probably won't love a quarter of them, that's totally fine.
I love that psychology so much.
Thank you.
How do you respond to a client when they do say, I don't like my face in any of these?
I don't even know how to explain. I feel like everyone hates their face in photos, including myself.
Same.
I will take 100 pictures of myself, of my sweet little precious face, and be like, you know,
like, is that every time someone else takes my photo? Like when I do, I have the little like app so I can see what it looks like and whatever. I only do my own headshots for that reason. For sure. But when someone else takes my photo, I'm like, oh,
like, girl, humbled. Do I look like that?
Yeah.
Do I look like that? Because I feel like I have the opposite of the like normal body dysmorphia, whatever, where people are like, oh, I look the opposite of what I want to look like. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm just this teeny tiny little sweet fairy of an angel of a baby, just tiny. And then I'm like, girl, you curvy. And I'm like, wait, I love that. But also, why do I look like that in the picture? I thought I looked different because, like you said, whenever we're taking our own photos, I can see what it looks like. Right. I know exactly how to change my face to where I'm like, oh, that's what I look like. Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. But then my mom takes a picture of me and I'm like, Paula, what are you doing?
I know.
What is this? Oh my God. Anyway, but yeah, how I respond to that is typically telling them, honestly, like, you're so special to me. I love that. But this is not a new occurrence. Like, this is everybody. Just like everyone that comes into my studio or into whatever Airbnb I'm shooting in, they're like, oh my God, I'm nervous. I'm like, girl, I think you were a sociopath if you weren't nervous. Yeah. Literally, let me break it down. You are meeting a stranger that you met on the internet and getting a little naked in front of them. Like, I think I'm a normal-ish person. Like, I think I'm a very trustworthy and sweet individual. But that's still weird to its core, you know? Like, girl, it's okay. It's fine. And I tell people I work with everyone from sex workers to preachers' wives. Oh, wow. Like, truly, and I do. I've worked with heads of mega churches and their spouse. I've worked with deans of colleges. I've worked with sex workers. And everybody in between, kindergarten teachers, whoever.
Yeah, love that.
And every single person is a little nervous when they come in because I'm a brand new stranger, regardless of you following me on the internet for 8 years and us talking back and forth for the last 8 years. Like, we're still strangers, you know, to its core. But yeah, I honestly just tell them, like, I get that you don't love your face. Just look at the rest of them.
Right.
You know, don't let that get you down.
One of the things I had one client who said that early days when I was doing photography, just like portraits, not boudoir. And she's like, I don't like any of these. And I was like, well, look at the gallery as if it's your best friend. Yeah. Like, think of it as like an outside perspective, looking at yourself instead of like critiquing every little thing and be like, look how happy I was. Or like stuff like that. Because
like, my best friend is a hottie. Like, wow, amazing. Okay, look at the booty.
And like look through it twice. Like the first time you look through it, you're panicking. You're like, I need to like the way I look. And then the second time you like can take a breath. Like even my clients looking at their wedding photos, like the first time you look at it, you're like, I want to see the ceremony. I want to see our portraits. And that's like all you care about.
Oh my gosh.
And then the second time, then you're finally looking at your aunts, your uncles, the little kids having fun, like all of those sweet photos instead of just like those iconic moments.
Exactly.
So I'm always like, look through it twice, please.
Yeah. I think also people have it in their head what it's going to look like because they see our body of work and they see all these different beautiful humans and different body types and all these, you know, different hairstyles and different skin tones. And they just kind of, they're able to imagine themselves in that when they find someone that looks kind of similar to them. Yeah. And they have it in their head that they're going to look identical to that. So they're not able to see the beauty in what they're seeing currently because they're looking for the differences and the similarities in the photo that they saw previously.
That's a good way of putting it.
So but you're right though. When you look at it a second time, you're like, okay, honey, look at her. Like, my God, incredible. Like a model. And I think that's something really beautiful. And the fact that they have digitals now and that they're able to look back through them. And if you want to edit them further, please do. Do whatever you
care?
want. Oh, I don't care. No, because it doesn't bother me because like they did their session with me. So the photos themselves, I've always kind of said that technically, like from a technical aspect, I'm not the best photographer. I don't know exactly how to manipulate a camera and tell you what I'm doing. I jokingly say I know how to make it do.
Yeah.
Like I know how to get the picture how I want it to be. But if you do the rule of thirds and you do the editing and you do the exact like pixels and width and stuff, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know any of that because to me, the session itself is the actual like gift of it all.
Yeah.
Like the session itself is what makes you feel delicious. The photos are just the reminder of it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, use them as a gift if you want. Use them as a gift for yourself, for your partner, for whoever. But it's really the session that like keeps you feeling delicious and fabulous and wonderful and confident.
Well, and that's what you remember too, is how you felt. Which, for the record, Lindsay's acting like she doesn't know how to use a camera. She's incredibly talented. So, like, her work is stunning.
Thank you. Appreciate you. But from a technical aspect, like, my partner is a technically trained, went to 4-year university for filmmaking and photography, and he's always like, oh, when you got to do this, and I'm like, that's cute. That's cute.
Never heard that term before.
No, me neither. I was like, girl, what is that? And then he's like, oh, and you need to set it up this way. I was like, it looks cuter from here, though. And
so from just go with the vibes. Exactly. Like, I'm a feelings person. So I'm like, how does this photo make me feel?
Exactly.
And like, there's some technical correctness to it, but I'm like, I want emotion more than a perfect photo, like perfectly framed.
And you know how in all the photography groups and the critique groups and stuff, I've since left those. I joined for all of a minute, honey. Where they're like, don't crop at the ankle, don't crop at a joint, don't crop the photo at a. I'm like, it's fine.
No, and like fine. Like, sometimes it looks weird when it's cropped at the knee, but like we know when it does and when it doesn't. So it works.
And chances are, this sounds really silly and ridiculous, but a lot of my older clients crop the shit out of their photos and put them in a book or send me a picture of it, and I'm like, oh,
jump scare.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, girl, Cynthia, that's so artistic. I just love that. I love that you zoomed in on this face, just this face from a whole body shot. I'm like, maybe I do know a little bit more about what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're our own worst critics. So,
truly.
She's definitely a very talented photographer. The link will be in the bio to check out her Instagram. So
we'll be Insta friends.
Definitely do that. Speaking of Instagram,
I love Insta.
My favorite conversation that we had on the workshop day was talking about the algorithm and Boudoir and how the algorithm hates Boudoir and you are shadow banned.
I have been for quite a few years for sure. So there's a way in your settings to, you and I talked about this, but a way in your settings to look through and see what is the violation that is like kind of keeping you from being seen. Yeah. So mine's all of them. Pretty much everything I post is an issue. My bio is an issue. My profile picture is an issue.
Oh, wow.
My everything's an issue. So I've tried really hard to appeal everything. I've tried to reword things. To no avail, of course. So now for the last few years, my work can only be seen by those who already follow me. So unless you go in and type in LL photo with 2 underscores, it's not going to come up.
Yeah, I was trying to tag you earlier and it wouldn't come up. And I was like, that's weird.
You have to type
the
whole thing.
But I must not have done enough underscores.
Yep. You have to type the whole thing because it's fickle. And let me tell you, why did I decide on LL photo? Why did I do that? I don't know, but I'm glad I did. Truly, I am. But 10 years ago when I decided on that name, the website was not available. So I bought llphoto.co. Tell me how many people get so confusion when I'm like llphoto.co. And they're like, so that's not my website anymore, so don't go looking for it. But it's still my email. It's still Lindsey@llphoto.co because it has been for 10 years.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that are like .com, I'm like, no, girl. I didn't make a typo in my own email.
Yeah.
Like, I did not misspell my own email. So the amount of people that are like, I don't know. It just didn't get delivered because you didn't type it right. It's fine. Anyway.
What types of photos get you shadow banned?
All of them.
Just like, because I remember, what was the one, the bra? Oh,
like the hand bra.
Yeah.
So anything where the entirety or most of your hand is covering a boob and or nipple.
Yeah.
Bye. Anything where too much of a butt crack is shown. So like, not even just a G-string. Not butt ass naked. I'm talking about like a decent size piece of underwear covering. But if you got more cheeks than not, if you can't see the whole entirety part of the underwear, then they're like, hey, this is bad, this is raunchy, this is terrible.
Have you tried throwing like an emoji over it or like blurring and they're still like screw you?
So I blur them in a way that's kind of like a fuck you kind of thing. Like if you look at it, you're like, girl, that's not blurred. And then you zoom in and you're like, oh, that's blurred. That's blurred.
Oh, okay. It's subtle. Yeah.
Because I'm like, at this point, anything I do is an issue.
You're already shadow banned.
Exactly.
You might as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Because out of the, 7,400 followers, literally like 30 people will like my stuff now.
Yeah.
Whereas on my new page, I have 700 followers or something, and I get 100 likes.
Yeah.
Or 200 views on my stories. I'm like, girl, where are you people coming from? And then it's like 75% of the people are non-followers for this reel.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to fight. I want to fight you. It's fine. But I've been kicked off of TikTok. I've been permanently banned a few times.
Oh, wow.
So I just don't post any of my stuff on there anymore.
Yeah.
I just post silly personal things and very chaotic one-take voiceover posing tutorials where I'm like fully clothed, like in a hoodie, in some yoga pants.
Oh, yeah. You're like the most decent human being,
100%.
stand-up citizen.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, do this pose, but naked. Shh, don't say it. Naked. And yeah, it's just silly and weird and whatever. But yeah, it's just really annoying. Instagram used to be really fun, and I'm really glad that I started my education page because I was feeling very burnt out and very just like not enthusiastic about anything.
Yeah, discouraged.
Yeah, very discouraged. Thank you. That's a perfect word. So I was like, nobody's seeing my shit. Why am I doing all of this? Why am I going above and beyond and re-editing a photo to make it, quote unquote decent for Instagram when Instagram's not even letting me post it or show it?
Yeah, and then hardly anybody's interacting.
Exactly.
And you're just like, where's my family?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, who are you guys?
Yeah.
Like, where are you? I loved you for so long. But Instagram is a really great tool, just like all social media. I feel like people are really gung-ho about like ads and like, let me put all of my stuff into SEO and let me pay for everything. I'm like, girl, do all that. Truly do all that. Who am I to say you shouldn't? But you are literally missing out on the free resources that are right in front of your face that take just a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. These are the ones that I heard this the other day actually on TikTok. I'm riddled with ADHD. Sorry. It always comes full circle though. It's fine. But she said that Instagram is where you are personal with people, where you are like, hey, this is my life story. Hey, this is what is funny and quirky about me. And then TikTok is where you just yap about other people and about other things. And it's not you personally a lot of the time.
Oh.
So I've found like most of the stuff that I watch is like, I'll get personally invested in a dog or an old couple or something like that. But if they're like story time about, no. Goodbye. Immediately no. Immediately
I don't
no.
have the attention span for the 2-3 minute
They're
videos.
like, put a finger down if. I'm like, put your finger down immediately. What is it? Tell me
You're like,
now.
all my fingers are down and I'm
literally.
sleeping.
Yes. I'm like, go away. But on Instagram, if someone has like a 20-part Insta story about how, do you remember the other day when, yes, tell me. Immediately, yes. These are 1-minute spurts. I watched 20 minutes of it.
Oh my gosh.
Immediately. But that's how you get to know people. And I've had followers, and that have turned into friends, of course. But I've had followers for the last 5-10 years that it has taken them 5 to 10 years to book with me. They're like, hey, I've followed you since 2020. Hey, I've followed you since, X, Y, and Z. And I finally gotten the courage to do it. Or I left my partner, or I got a new partner, or I'm getting married, or I lost weight, or I gained weight, or I had a baby, or I suffered loss, or whatever it is. They still were able to remember me because I make myself a part of their little life by like showing up so consistently.
Yeah, that's the kick in the butt I needed, honestly. I don't show my face enough on my stories.
I like when you show your little face though.
Thank you.
I love that. I think you posted something the other day on your stories about that puppy.
I did that, and then my silly goose hat was premiered.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
I am addicted to saying like silly goose on the loose.
Yeah.
Like describing myself.
That's
and now I
super
have a
cute.
baseball cap with it. So
listen.
Shout out to my best friend at Amazon.
I love that. I love that for you. When I was having car issues and everybody was just letting me down, I was like, who is fighting to be the silliest goose in my life?
Yeah.
Because if I did not say that, I would have just
just lost it.
I would have lost it. Because I was like, this is really testing me. This is really testing me. But you guys are silly geese. Silly goslings. And then I'm like, oh, Ryan Gosling. It's fine. So every time I say it, it just somehow goes into Ryan Gosling. I don't know why. Shout out, Ryan.
That's amazing.
It's whatever. If you just want to show up in my life, no problem. It's all right. Love that. Tell me the things.
Any other things you want to touch on with Boudoir before we wrap up the episode? I feel like we had a well-rounded topics.
Post your face.
Yeah,
show
post
up.
your face.
Post your face, show up. It's a long game. That's the biggest thing. Biggest takeaway is it's always a long game.
Yeah.
Like I have had people telling me, I don't mind this. Y'all please keep doing it. I don't care. Hey girl, I want to do a session when X, Y, and Z. Like when I lose weight, when I do this, when I get married, when... Okay, that's fine. I am not here to sell you on anything. I'll be here when you're ready, though. Yeah. So to make yourself available is really important without following up, I think. Which, God, that's a whole different conversation. What am I doing? I'm a yapper. I'm a yapper till the day I die. Just kind of see it as a friend. You wouldn't run up to a random person that you made friends with 2 weeks ago and be like, "Hey, do you want to pay my bills? Do you want to be a Boudoir client?" You're just a friend. Like
I am obsessed with this logic now.
Yeah. Like you are not trying to sell someone in your real life on paying your bills and to whip a titty out in front of you when they're not comfy to do so yet for whatever their reason is. You know, I've seen a lot of photographers be like, "Oh, well, just do the session. You get confidence in the session." And while that's very much true, like that is 1,000% truth. Yeah. Who are you to tell them that they have to do it right now? Well, and if you don't love your body, like you're not going to love the photos because you're going to nitpick it. And, you know, I think all bodies are beautiful, but if you're severely insecure, like you're going to feel insecure while you're half naked in front of the camera. For sure. And that'll show in the photos. And I've found that if you push someone to do it or they think that they have to do it on a certain timeline, they tend to not love the photos and the experience as much, which kind of breaks my heart. Like, not going to lie to you. I'm like, I just want you to love me, love the experience, love yourself. Yeah. But, you know, body positivity is pushed more than body neutrality is. And I think that's a whole different conversation as well. Very quickly, what I preach on that is you don't have to love yourself every day. You don't have to like yourself every day. You sure as shit don't hate yourself every day. Just, you know, do it in your own time. Do whatever you got to do. You don't have to, you know, force it down someone else's throat that they're beautiful right then and there, even if they're not feeling their most beautiful that day. Just be like, hey, you look bomb today. Love that for you. Bye. Yeah. That's enough. That's truly enough. I did a whole nother podcast on that. Oh my gosh. I was about to say, I'm clipping that for the little TikTok like reels, whatever. It's just something. I love that for us. Anyway, that's probably all the things. This was such a helpful episode. I have been like so excited about Boudoir this whole, I've done like a ton this past year. I mean, a ton for me, not compared to you. But it's been so fun. And I'm like, I want to like tell people about this and everything. So and it truly is fun. I feel like that's the reason I stopped everything else is because I felt my most authentic self when I was with my Boudoir clients. Yeah. Also, be authentic. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Yeah. Don't act a certain way just because you think you have to. Exactly. So, oh God, quick side rant. Sorry. Side quest we're on. My mom has been in HR, human resources, my whole life. So I was always preached to that, girl, you don't say fuck, shit, and damn on the internet. You don't have visible tattoos. You don't say anything on the internet that could possibly, you know, an employer can possibly see it. And so I lived my first few years, probably 4 or 5 years of business in that mindset, in that mentality, to where so much so I had so many clients that would show up to their sessions. Somehow they would still hire me for a boudoir session. They would show up to their sessions and be like, wow, I thought you'd be a lot more like buttoned up. I thought you wouldn't be like as crazy and wild and like unhinged as you are. I thought that you would be very like clutching your pearls kind of vibes. And I was like, oh, bestie, that sucks. So then I was like, fuck it. And so as soon as I did that and I started being my authentic self online and like representing myself how I represent myself in real life, business truly skyrocketed. Yeah, like, honestly, if you only listen to one piece of advice from this podcast, that's the one. No, for sure. Yeah. Because then you become really invested and really excited about your business, and other people can feel that through you. Yeah. If you were holding back a third of yourself to, you know, appeal to what you think the masses want, then you're not going to get any of the people that you actually want to work with. You're going to get those people that vibe with the buttoned up version of you or the version of you that is not your true authentic self. Yeah. So, that's probably the biggest piece of advice. Brilliant. Show up on the internet, be authentic with it. Done. You're welcome.
Speaking of the internet, where can people find you?
Ooh, great questions. We love a question. Let's see. So if you're on the Instagram, we love the Instagram, you can either type in LL photo with 2 underscores, besties, or you can type in Lindsey Lay. That one will probably come up more easily because it's my personal, and then you can navigate to my other accounts in my personal bio. So it's LINDSEYLAY.
And also she has education
Ooh,
page.
I do. I forgot about that one. It's LLphoto_EDU. Wow. So scholarly.
Yes.
You're
and
welcome.
then for me, you can find my work at 1828 Collective on Instagram and TikTok. You can find more about the podcast and education at 1828 Photo Education. I'm finally getting my URLs down. I've been struggling.
I love that. No, that's, friend, I feel that.
But
it's a lot of
let's
effort.
see you guys next week for the gossip episode, which I am the most excited about. It's going to be so good. We're about to film it now.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening and see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.